Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Had my third session of the new Spelljammer campaign. It's the point where I'm trying to turn it into a sandbox. The first two sessions were about the resolution of a simple starting quest, single location. Bounce around to a few places, meet a few NPCs, put together some clues to figure out where you need to go, and then go there and deal with the thing. And that's basically how it went. Now, though, I'm leaving it more open ended. Presented a literal menu of quest options. Basically, it's been a couple days since the end of the previous adventure, and the were rat who runs the rock rat is a little tired of them hanging out at her bar all the time. So she literally hands them a menu with a few quest tips that she's picked up for them of things to do. Three of them billed as proper entrees, and then two side dishes that are just kind of like personal plots that deal with, finding out more or resolving something from their character's background. And then the entrees will lead into proper little adventures. Very little direction beyond that. Like, here's your options. Let's see what you do. And they decided to try to thread the needle and do all three entrees and one side quest. They haven't gotten around to going to go meet Ozamada to find out information about the pirate that kidnapped Roscoe's younger brother yet. But, they did have Shakti go and meet with the mind of Mordenkainen's brain as being projected through a bunch of cranium rats that are infesting the Low City on the Rock of Brawl. But it's the three adventures thing. It's how a sandbox can become a sand trap. If the player, it's not like Skyrim, where you can activate all sorts of quests at once and you have a whole bunch of shit in your active quest menu, and they'll just sit there and wait and not do anything and until you get back around to dicking with it. I kind of go for somewhere in between. I tend to leave untouched quest lines that are in the setting kind of in stasis until the players interact with them, and then the ball starts rolling. But from that point, events are in motion, and I'm kind of at a crossroads as to what to do with the fourth session, insofar as I don't know how hard I want to kind of be about imparting a lesson about distracting themselves so much by trying to juggle three opening little adventures instead of just picking one and sticking with it. Because, it could have a drastic effect on the setting itself, kind of a thing. The basic gist is that a old, aging elven philosopher, poet, architect, astronomer, local sage, characters on behalf of a minor petty lord, or who wants to impress the ruler of the Rock of Brawl. He asked the characters to go and get this guy to agree to go to this big ball being thrown at the castle as his plus one. Since the characters have associated themselves in a positive way with one of the religious cults on the rock, that the elf in question, Linfirth is his name, figures that maybe they might be able to impress him enough to agree to join. Thing is when they return the next morning to pick up the guy's letter, because he's like, well, I'll think about it and come back in the morning and I'll have a reply you can take back to the Baron. They show up and they find him dead, strangled to death by a Nyx-born copy of himself. That though the fact that they could tell, they figured out where he went. He's off to the forest at a shrine of Coralon, and despite having left out clues as to that should indicate oh, this is a religious matter, maybe we should go talk to our cult friends. Instead, they kind of whiz past that. And just kind of diddle around a bit too long. And now, a Trod's about to be opened in the middle of the forest on the Rock of Brawl, and that's going to have interesting consequences. And, Yeah, I don't know how hard I want to make those consequences. Do I soften the blow a little bit so like I can just kind of wrap that up? It's like, well, yeah, you kind of failed that mission. It'll have a kind of a bad ending, but not so bad of an ending that you're stuck having to pick up the pieces of it for sessions and sessions to come, or just wrap it up quick enough so that like, yeah, sorry, you didn't get any experience because you didn't do the thing you're supposed to do. You didn't figure out the puzzle, and now you can just move on to a different adventure quest that you can focus on a bit more. I'm not quite sure where I want to go. I've kind of written out two different timelines of how things will unfold in the next session along both lines, but I'm not sure which I want to do. I don't want to overtly halt the momentum or like make them too infamous too fast. So having something that like sparks like a massive earthquake or a dimensional anomaly or something might be going a bit too far. But at the same time, though, I kind of got to get across the idea that like you need to prioritize your adventuring so that you're not stuck spread too thin. The session didn't really feel like it got to a point where I felt satisfied with the ending, largely because since they're starting 3 quests at once, they're jumping back and forth between all the setup between these quests, but didn't really get very far along any of them. And to the degree that, the thing with the Nyxborn philosopher clone, is miscommunicated. Obviously, like, I could have spelled things out, I guess, a bit more clear, but, I did try to give several hints, and just for whatever reason, they were just kind of whizzing right over people's heads. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes, I guess. There's an unfortunate thing I've noticed over the years, like a lot of players, even brand new players, seem to have this kind of like weird inbuilt paranoia that the dungeon masters are not telling them the truth, or that you have to second guess everything they're saying because they're trying to deceive you. That there's just inherently just going to be a lot of misdirection and gaslighting. And to a degree, misdirection is a useful tool in storytelling and having a plot twist and all that kind of stuff. But especially early on with players, you're the whole point for the first half dozen sessions or so for an ongoing game, you're kind of teaching them how you want them to play by how you react to what they do and what kind of stuff you put in front of them, and how you spool consequences out of what they're doing. And I just feel it's incumbent to first establish a sense of like you have to be a reliable narrator so that later the misdirection will actually work. Because if they're going in just constantly looking for some M. Night Shyamalan level fucking plot twist around every corner, that's gonna like cause them to actually thwart themselves because they're not gonna take the obvious thing that's being suggested because they're gonna assume that it must be some sort of trick. And it diminishes your ability to actually really hit them with a plot twist later when it matters. So, I don't know, try to avoid that. And yet there's just seems to be something in the psychology of the player. Because like I said, even people who are pretty much brand new to role-playing games seem to just kind of come in and automatically kind of fall into this kind of assumption. And I'm not sure what exactly drives that. But, I don't know, I try to do what I can to curb it. And, I guess I would recommend other people to maybe consider doing that as well. At least early on when you're with a new player group and no one's quite used to your style yet and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, as the dungeon master, game master, whatever you're calling yourself, you are the primary narrator of events. And so, if you want them to buy into the verisimilitude of what's going on and feel immersed, or whatever current nerd buzzword is popular this month, then you want to be a reliable narrator. And so, I don't know, like I said, my main thing is I just haven't quite decided how harsh I want to be with the consequences of trying to do too much at once. Because that should be, you can't, the idea of being handed like, here's 3 different quests, you should, it's not, because like I said, it's not Skyrim. You shouldn't be allowed to engage them all without it having some sort of blowback, right? I don't know. Anyway, I guess things for myself to contemplate, and you to hit like and subscribe for. Until next time, stay waspinated.